that are in principle not simulatable on a computer. Is our universe somehow strong? The question of whether the universe itself is compatible with computational simulatability becomes an interesting question. And this kind of question is, on the philosophical level, is really what started to pull me in this direction. So of course I'd like to make great devices that make operation. Or whether the universe, because it's quantum mechanical, if it were simulatable, needs a probabilistic, I'd assume, universal computer. So he's asking whether, given that the universe is quantum mechanical in nature, could it be possible, and probabilistic means it won't necessarily give the answer every time, but let's say it will have to talk about it. So just telling you that this is, we're doing exegesis here. Then he says here, if you have to disagree, because he's a great person, and so I want to give the benefit of the doubt, magic in the world, then the answer is certainly no. So he's a very careful scientist. So he's saying philosophical. And in case you didn't get the subtlety of it, I thought I would just put up this concept of the movie. Kind of captures the idea. It's based on a science fiction notion. And so the idea is that by a computer that is sucking out their energy in their body. So the computers run everything. And we're in this room. Sometimes when I want to laugh, I tell myself a joke. And then the joke I like to think about is whether we live in a... So just you can laugh too later. Okay, and then let me just give the idea of the quantum computer, and if we simulate reality, we come up with a description. So if I want to simulate, let's say, the climate or the weather, we want to predict the weather. On a quantum computer, things are very different. That we don't have zeros and ones anymore, and we don't have programs as a concept. And so the idea that we have this particle-wave duality, in a sense, and I know I get in trouble with my expert colleagues for, we have our computer, we have an input of zeros and ones, it kind of converts it to waves. And the waves in the computer go along and happen. Other ones interact destructively and don't happen. Anything that is destructive doesn't happen. It actually doesn't take time. The reason that the quantum computer is so important is captured in this diagram. I took this from Scott Aronson, and it's on his blog and various other places. He has this diagram. I'm not going to explain the details of the diagram. What I want to explain to you, and this is a very important notion of things in terms of their complexity. So the idea is that things happen. To a physicist, you care about what exists or doesn't exist. So a particle can be put in our computer and get an answer. And so here, we can now take a question. And so if the time and the space are exponential, it's a category, we call it easy. These are polynomial problems. So you see, we have hard problems up here, easy problems up here. Your trust in the security of the internet is based on the idea that your credit card, that it will take many, many years to be able to break. And your credit card has an expiration date. So by the time the technology is there to break it, you've already got to do it anthropomorphize. So it makes better sense when you tell a story about people, and they always have these great stories. God wants to save all of Alice. And somehow, for some reason, that's a secret. Whether an eavesdropper can, or a criminal could come, you have the rule, and I'm not going to explain the details. It says P and Q prime, N is PQ, etc. Here it says, you know that this is related to factorization. What are the factors in this of finding, of factorizing numbers? That's where it is. So if you found it hard as a student, so you have atoms which can be zeros or ones depending on the state of the electron, or superpositions or entanglements and so on. These things shuffle around, and this would be the quantum computer. High level of concepts in representation theory and mathematical physics. These are the kinds of things that obviously are complexities. So what is he saying here? Well, when he says ultimately physics will not require a mathematical statement in a unified way, but in the way Feynman was thinking, from what I've read, in Trieste International Center for Theoretical Physics, he did many other order the next Einstein. The idea was scientists, I feel that scientists have an obligation, not everybody has to live up to it, but there's an
You said that how would it be possible proton can be converted into neutron after beta negative decay, because the neutron is slightly heavier than proton. So how could this be possible?
Okay, so I won't technical detail in the theory to do with particles and interacting, so I can go through it later. Yeah.
I'm a student, I've graduated EELS. I'm interested.
Just put it to your mouth so I can hear you.
I'm interested in studying quantum physics. I just wanted to ask you, what are the prerequisites, the requirements of the things that I should learn before I go into learning quantum physics? For example, what things in mathematics and what things in physics should I learn first?
Our curriculum at the expense of classical mechanics, and I feel that
I get -1 on the first qubit and -1 on the second. What's this probability?
कायनात को देखने का एक निज़ाम है, हमारे इर्द गिर्द दुनिया कैसी है, ये सितारे कैसे बने, कायनात कैसे बनी, कहकशाएँ कैसे बनी, ये कायनात कैसे वजूद में आई, इसका मुस्तकबिल क्या है। एक तरफ ये बड़ी कहकशाएँ और दूसरी तरफ एटम के अंदर हमारा जिस्म किन किन खुलियों से बना है, उन खुलियों में कौन से एटम हैं, इर्द गिर्द जो चीज़ें नज़र आ रही हैं, एटम हैं, ज़र्रात हैं, उसके अंदर एक पूरी कहकशां है दरअसल, उसके अंदर इलेक्ट्रॉन्स हैं, न्यूट्रॉन्स हैं, ये बिजली दौड़ रही है, ये इलेक्ट्रॉन्स की वजह से, ये हम रोशनी देख रहे हैं, फोटॉन्स हैं। तो क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स एक ऐसा नज़रिया है जो फ़िज़िक्स ने पेश किया है, जो इन चीज़ों को समझने के लिए एक मज़बूत तरीन एक नज़रिया है, और अभी तक कोई ऐसा तजर्बा पूरी दुनिया में नहीं हुआ जो क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स के बुनियादी नज़रियात को झुटला सके। और क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स एक ऐसा जानदार और मज़बूत नज़रिया है कि अगर आप हमारी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की इंडस्ट्री देखें, कंप्यूटर की इंडस्ट्री देखें, दुनिया भर में 60 से 70% रेवेन्यू ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजीज़ पर मुनहसर है जिनका इन्हिसार क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स पर है। अब क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स की जो टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं उनको समझने के लिए हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी ने ये इनिशिएटिव लिया है कि ये एक 5 रोज़ा वर्कशॉप का एहतमाम किया है, जिसमें दुनिया भर से बेहतरीन स्पीकर्स आए हैं और पाकिस्तान भर से स्टूडेंट्स ने इस वर्कशॉप में हिस्सा लिया है, और उन्हें ये मौका मिला है कि क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स के नतीजे में जो टेक्नोलॉजी ज़हूर पज़ीर हैं उनको समझ सकें और दुनिया के फ्रंटियर्स पर जो तहकीक हो रही है उससे कुछ हिस्सा हासिल कर सकें। और मेरे ख़्याल में इस तरह के मौक़े और भी होने चाहिए ताकि हमारे जो नौजवान साइंसदान हैं उनके अंदर साइंस के लिए रग़बत पैदा हो सके, उनका ज़हन वसी हो सके और हम अपनी मसाइल को हल करने की एक ताकत और जुस्तजू हासिल कर सकें। तो इसलिए मेरे ख़्याल में ये लिफ्टिंग एक वर्कशॉप थी जिससे हमारे नौजवानों को एक नई जहत मिलेगी, एक नई सोचने के एक नई रुख मिलेगा। मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी को।
समर स्कूल ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया गया है। इसका मकसद ये है कि पाकिस्तानी तालिब इल्म और पाकिस्तानी रिसर्चर्स को ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मुहैया की जाएँ जो कि उनको पाकिस्तान में रहते हुए यूजली नहीं मिलती, उनके लिए उसको इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल करना पड़ता है। हमने कोशिश की है कि इंटरनेशनल रिसर्चर्स को बुलाया जाए और उनको मॉडर्न लेटेस्ट रिसर्च के बारे में बतलाया जाए और ये एक ऐसी तहकीक की जाए कि जो वन टाइम एफर्ट ना हो। हमारा मकसद ये है और इंशाअल्लाह ताला कि हर साल और रेगुलरली हम इस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ अवेल कर सकें अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, ताकि जो हमारी नई जनरेशन हो वो वही साइंस प्रैक्टिस कर सके जो हमारे पुराने ग्रेट साइंटिस्ट करते आए हैं। जो हमारे यहाँ एक गैप आ चुका है साइंस के अंदर, उस गैप को फिल करने की ज़रूरत है और हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी की तरफ से ये क्वांटम इंफॉर्मेशन समर स्कूल एक इसी मकसद के लिए एक कोशिश है।
How he came from. So it's kind of interesting to think, not just scientifically, but socially about how the knowledge. Quantum information is an exciting multidisciplinary venture that is both philosophically appealing and also extremely important for strategic reasons. It touches on issues to do with communication security and also the ability of computers to solve hard problems much faster, with possible benefits to areas such as pharmaceuticals and to investment management. So the field is extremely exciting. There are companies and countries putting large amounts of money into it because of the potential it offers and also because of the threat it can pose. The field is exciting. It's receiving significant investment. It's bringing a lot of scientists from various disciplines on board, physics, mathematics, computer science, chemistry, etc. For me, being here in Pakistan, it's particularly exciting because from the time of Abdus Salam, who was a great particle physicist and made some of the most important contributions to the field, and nowadays where there's a cohort of young quantum information researchers who are participating and contributing importantly on an international level, I'm very pleased to be here to speak about this topic and to share my knowledge and ideas with local scientists. This Quantum Information Summer School has been especially important because there's a whole new generation of scientists thinking about what problems to tackle and what to do, and by sharing my passion in quantum information, it helps the young generation to see that that's one possibility for exciting and important research taking place. So I foresee that quantum computing will always be expensive and always satisfy niche problems. But nowadays we're moving towards cloud computing, and so the idea that a computer can be very expensive actually doesn't matter. We're seeing all forms of computing move in that direction. Nowadays, if you use Microsoft Office with Office 365 or Google Documents or variations like that, we're starting to move towards being able to operate on the cloud. Quantum computing, even if it's expensive, would not be out of reach of the average person to use, simply because the complicated machinery and infrastructure could be housed somewhere and answers could be delivered through that means. The question then is, what kind of problems can it solve? The current problems are really only of interest at the highest level for national security, for e-commerce security, for solving problems that are of esoteric but high-value financial management questions and so on. And so we don't have things like a Microsoft Word or a Google search engine that are going to deliver high value at this time. But if such algorithms manage to come along, then the average person would be making use of quantum computing, but probably never know it. People don't know right now what kind of supercomputer they're accessing. Who knows when they do a Google search what the computer is? So a quantum computer would be a hidden object far away that's delivering value.